All right, a couple words before I go into my watch list for Tuesday. Obviously, Monday was a holiday; the market was closed. And I expect very light volume because of the holiday on Monday. I think this week's going to be fairly dead, just like last week. We were very cautious not to trade big and not to overtrade last week because we were coming into a holiday weekend. Last week is summer and all that. I do think volume will pick up, in a week or two here. But don't get too excited and don't try to get rich this next week. We try to, just work our way higher a little at a time, but trade smaller, wait for the right opportunities, and don't overtrade. Having said all that, here we go. HIMX, you had this kind of little cup and handle breakout, and now it's really flagging again. So I like this one as a potential long. Base all my entries on an intraday basis, though, so we'll see how it trades on, on an intraday basis on Tuesday. ARWR. Let me get my line drawing tool here. You can kind of picture resistance right there. And you can kind of picture a little cup and handle, right? And so this one is an interesting potential long, especially you got that green day on Friday. Switch to 15-minute candles. I mean, up over Friday's high is one area that could be an interesting entry, over 1480-ish, because then you're kind of breaking this little 15-minute flag, and maybe we could catch a breakout through this, through this recent highs, which would be like over 1563. Maybe we could get in a much better entry and be early on a breakout. But again, remember the words I just said about this week coming up. I don't expect too much excitement, too much volume. I like Loco as a potential long. You can kind of see it here on 15-minute candles. Nice volume at the end of the day, by the way. Closed really strong on Friday. You had a nice run and kind of a rounded bottom here and starting to work its way back up. So Loco makes some really nice moves at times. MOBI, I had this one. Anytime you have a stock that has really big volume for that stock, for the next few weeks, I try to watch them. And so now MOBI is basically nearing the bottom of a range. A lot of times when you get a big gap up on big volume, the stock just ends up in a range. Okay, so down here near the bottom of the range, this one becomes interesting. Switching to 30-minute candles, you can see it around 750. If we get down there, I'll be looking for a potential long as it visits the bottom of the range. That's that for MOBI. It's kind of trading pretty thin lately, though. TLM, this isn't a very pretty chart, but this one's pretty beaten up for about 3-4 days in a row, near some support. So I want to watch this one for a potential bounce. Nice volume coming in near the end of the day on Friday, so something might be up there. So I want to watch TLM for a bounce, and SPLK certainly needs to be on watch. 20 million shares, and this thing was, not that it matters, but this thing back in February was over $100 a share, and really beaten up since then. And on earnings on Friday, a nice gap up and a strong close. So this falls in that category again of, you don't want to just watch this one on Tuesday, but this one should be on watch for the next several weeks, or at least the next couple weeks, for potential long setups on an intraday basis. And I also want to point out, I don't call very many swing trades, but this CSLT, it was an IPO back here in, when was this, March, around $40, and went all the way down to 10, and a nice bounce to almost 20 there. Okay, then you've got lower highs, lower lows. But if I switch to 60-minute candles here, you kind of had this, what looked like a bottom there. Okay, finally down here around 1050, massive volume on a 60-minute basis, and you had that kind of waterfall shape we look for. Then it bounced, came back down, retested, so you kind of have a double bottom in play now, and then started back up. So, I mean, in a way, you could argue that I'm a little bit late. A better entry would have been down here over this base around 11, but I still think this one's worth watching. You do have a lot of supply right between 12 and 1250, but upon researching this, when I saw the chart, I noticed it had over 60% of the float is short. Assuming that's that stat is right, that's pretty big. That coupled with a recent double bottom and visiting just above its all-time lows. I could see this one moving to 15 and maybe through that again in the near future. So this is kind of an interesting swing trade idea with a stop, below the most recent low, below 1050, something like that. I don't own any right now, but I think it's worth having on a chart. I'll tell you what. I'm going to probably leave it at that. I've got other things that are interesting that I watch almost every day, but I don't want to go into those in every video that I make, so I won't. And one more thing, EXAS is worth having on watch. This needs to come in some more in my opinion, but this thing had a really nice move here. We started watching it around 17, and it moved all the way to 22. Another day or two red, and getting down here close, especially to the 20-day moving average. This one's going to be real interesting for a bounce play again. But that one for Tuesday, I'm not going to be watching it, or it hasn't come in enough for me yet. So anyway, enjoy what's the little bit that's left of your Labor Day weekend, and we'll see everybody on Tuesday.